Today, we're building another commander deck around a new Aetherdrift card. This time it's Mendicant Core, Guidelight. This video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now you can pre-order Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy products, or find a vast number of other great items on their website. Remember, shipping is free in the US if your order's over $100 or consists only of singles. Just look in the description or the comment section below for direct links to their site. Hey there, this is John from Heroes and Legends, and welcome to another edition of the Magic the Gathering Market Watch. We have another commander deck tech around a new Aetherdrift card for you today. By now, you know it's Mendicant Core Guidelight. The build I put together is not overly complex. In fact, this might be a good entry-level commander deck for someone learning the format. I included some combos, but for the most part the deck is about playing artifacts, creating artifact tokens, buffing your creatures, and turning them sideways. Quickly before we get into it though, just a couple fast things. I do want to remind you that these videos do go out to the gold patrons and the Hero and Legend tier channel members first. A couple days later everybody can access them though. And I do want to take this moment to say thank you to one of our gold patrons, and that is Todd Branch. Todd, truly thank you for all your support on Patreon, the generous super thanks tips, everything that you do. It goes a really long way, so thank you again. And now, without any further ado, let's get into it. Alright, let's begin by looking at the commander. Mendicant Core Guidelight. It's a white, a blue legendary artifact creature robot. Power is star, toughness is 3. Mendicant Core's power is equal to the number of artifacts you control. It has start your engines. That means if you have no speed, it starts at 1. It increases once on each of your turns when an opponent loses life. Max speed is 4. If you can achieve max speed whenever you cast an artifact spell, you may pay 1. If you do, copy it. And of course the copy would become a token. So Mendicant's power scales with the number of artifacts you control. This deck will be able to increase its power quickly, and we have a few tricks to keep Mendicant alive and help it get across commander damage. Once you have max speed, which shouldn't take too long, you'll have the option to make token copies of your artifact spells as you cast them for just 1 mana. That will help you fill out your board quickly and efficiently. Let's move on to the 99, starting with our 1 Planeswalker, Tezzeret Artifice Master. The ultimate here is good, but I'm not even planning on getting up to that point. This is here for the +1 and the 0 cost abilities. The deck wants to go wide, and evasive Thopter tokens that we can buff will be good. The deck will also draw you a lot of cards, and Tezzeret's 0 cost ability plays into that. Let's look at the creatures next, starting with a couple that have copy effects. Oltec Matterweaver can either create a 1/1 colorless golem artifact token, or a token that's a copy of an artifact you control whenever you cast a creature spell. The deck has ways to take advantage of a battlefield full of artifact tokens, so this will be awesome. Phyrexian Metamorph can copy any artifact or creature on the battlefield, but it remains an artifact regardless. Next we have 3 blue creatures that will help with the token creation part of the strategy. Forensic Gadgeteer's ability to make clue tokens will synergize with other cards in the deck, or you could just use the tokens for card draw. Psymaster Thopterist also can draw you some cards, but we really want it for the Thopter creation trigger. And then we have Urza Lord High Artificer. This is the only game changer I included in the deck. I do have it as a part of a couple combos, but honestly I don't think it's necessary in the build. If you wanted to either remove it or the other combo pieces, which we'll look at later, you could do that. That could possibly change the commander bracket of the deck once all that is solidified. However, aside from all that, just as a standalone card, it is quite good in the deck. The Construct token is great, and Urza can yield you mana, plus playing random free cards is cool. Next we have 2 artifact creatures that help with token creation. Myr Battlespear is a good card to rumble with, and I do have some Myr in the deck aside from the tokens the Battlespear creates. Stridehanger Automaton will be able to make a lot of Thopter tokens in this deck. Giving them all +1/+1 is awesome too. Next we have Bronze Guardian, and this is here since, like Mendicant, its power scales with the amount of artifacts you control. It also protects your artifacts and even has double strike. This will do some work for sure. In this next section we have creatures that will buff your army, starting with Illustrious Wandercliff. It shouldn't be hard to give the City's Blessing, and then the +2/+2 buff to your artifact creatures will be great. It also fills out the battlefield with its own token creation each upkeep. Cyberdrive Awakener is next, and this has a potentially useful enters the battlefield effect. However, giving all your artifact creatures flying will be a big boost to your army. When it comes to Master of Ethereum, not only does this buff your artifact creatures, but its power and toughness also scales with the number of artifacts you control. Next is Urza Prince of Krug. This activated ability is solid in the deck, and Urza buffs your artifact creatures +2/+2. And I included one of my favorites here, Steel Overseer. This is going to increase your artifact creatures' power and toughness by giving them counters. That's nice because the counters stick around even if this is gone. Next, I included Padim Console of Innovation. Sure, it can draw you cards, but it also protects your artifacts by giving them hexproof. That includes your commander. These next 3 creatures all have great card draw effects: Research Thief, Vidalcan Archmage, and Vinwick's Vervos Host. That last one also says that you have no maximum hand size, which is nice since we'll be drawing a lot of cards. These 4 cards are here to enable your attacks by giving you advantages in combat. Low Shield Clockwork Scholar can draw you cards too, but preventing all combat damage that would be dealt to artifact creatures you control is awesome. As for Canine Mark I, giving ward is nice, but making a target legendary creature unblockable is fantastic. This will be one way to get across big damage with Mendicant. Kappa Cannoneer's Improvise and Ward is good to have, but it will also grow quickly and be unblockable most turns. And if your opponent can block, Cyberman Patrol is here to still make sure big damage can get across. I added Shimmer Mirror just because it will make your opponent think twice about attacking you. Giving your artifacts flash is quite good in this deck, of course. These 2 cards are solid tempo plays. Ethereum Sculptor will let you run out your artifacts faster, and Riptide Gearhulk clears a path with its Enters ability, and it even has prowess along with Double Strike so it can rumble. It's always nice to have ways to get your key cards back from your graveyard, and Emery Lurker of the Lock as well as Scrap Trawler will help with that. Our last 4 creatures will speed up your deck by either tapping for mana or fetching you a land. We have Gold Mirror, Ornithopter of Paradise, Silver Mirror, and Solemn Simulacrum. Alright, let's look at non-creature artifacts next, beginning with Sculpting Steel. It lets you copy an artifact, there's nothing wrong with that. The next group of artifacts will help with token creation. Thousand Moon Smithy / Barracks of the Thousand will create tokens with scaling power and toughness based on the number of artifacts and or creatures you control. Next we have Simulacrum Synthesizer. It's another card that makes scalable tokens based on the amount of artifacts you control. Thopter Fabricator is here to make Thopter tokens, and Worldwalker Helm makes map tokens, which will work well with some of the other cards in the deck, but it can also create a copy of an existing artifact token you control. Remember, this deck has the capability of making a lot of different unusual artifact tokens. Now we have 3 artifacts that buff your creatures. First, Adaptive Omnitool. The attack trigger on this card is good, but being able to equip a creature that scales with your number of artifacts will be awesome. Put this on Mendicant, and if you can get the damage across, you could be knocking players out of the game. Nettlesist is similar, and it's a living weapon. This gives +1/+1 for each artifact and enchantment you control though. And Salvation Engine gives other artifact creatures +2/+2, plus it can also get artifacts back from your graveyard. I included Unwinding Clock here for value. Even if you only use this to untap your creatures after an attack so you can defend yourself, it would be worth a spot in the 99. Crystal Skull, Isu Spyglass, and Mystic Forge are both here to help you play cards off the top of your library. They add tons of value. Thought Vessel makes an appearance because you'll be drawing a lot of cards. These 3 artifacts protect your stuff. Darksteel Forge makes all your artifacts indestructible, while Lightning Greaves and Swiftfoot Boots are great ways to protect your commander. And our last 5 artifacts are all mana rocks. We have Arcane Signet, Azoria Signet, Commander's Sphere, Sol Ring, since we are playing Commander, and Talisman of Progress. Alright, before we move on to the instance, just a fast reminder, this video is sponsored by Flipside Gaming. Check out flipsidegaming.com for all your gaming needs. Right now, you can pre-order Magic the Gathering Final Fantasy, as well as Tarkir Dragonstorm products, or you can pick up any number of other great items on their website, Magic related or otherwise. Remember, if your order is over $100 or consists only of singles, shipping will be free in the United States, and if you're looking for a direct link to their site, just check out the description or the comment section below. I do have links posted in both of those places. And now, without any further ado, let's get to the instance. We have 7 instants. These 3 are white, and they are all efficient removal spells: Dispatch, Path to Exile, and Swords to Plowshares. And we have 4 blue instants. Access Denied is a counterspell, but it also makes Thopter tokens. An Offer You Can't Refuse makes treasure tokens. Masterful Replication is great in the deck. At instant speed, you can turn all your artifacts into one particular artifact that you control. Remember, that counts for map, clue, treasure tokens as well. You could knock a player out of the game with this card at the right time, or if you're behind, it can just make you 2/3/3 artifact tokens. And lastly, for this section, we have 3 Steps Ahead, which is a good versatile spell. I like that it can duplicate an artifact or creature you control. Alright, I included 5 sorceries. Farewell is your panic button, but you can wipe the board and avoid artifacts, which is cool. Organic Extinction is a nice, pretty much one-sided board sweep in this deck. March of Progress for the overload cost will double your artifact creatures, which is incredible. Season of Weaving is a flexible spell. There may be times when it makes sense to return non-land, non-token permanents to their owner's hands, but just copying an artifact or creature card in this deck could be good enough. Finally, Dance of the Manse is a great recursion card that can give you some beefy board presence too. There are 6 enchantments in total. Here's the 2 that are in white, All That Glitters and Tempered Steel. All That Glitters would be great on Mendicant or another creature that already scales with artifacts. Tempered Steel, another good way to buff artifact creatures you control. And these are our last 4 enchantments. Efficient Construction and Thopter Spy Network both make Thopter tokens. The latter can draw you cards too. Mechanized Production is a nice alternative win condition. Remember, you could select Thopter tokens, for example. You should have plenty of those. Granted, getting this to trigger may be a challenge though. Mirrored and Besieged can create mirror tokens, but the Phyrexian choice could knock a player out of the game at the right time. Okay, before we get to the lands, I just wanted to point out a couple combos that I did include in the deck. Let's start with Urza Lord High Artificer, Worldwalker Helm, and Mechanized Production. As long as Mechanized Production is attached to Worldwalker Helm, it will trigger on your upkeep, creating a token copy of that card and a map token. Then you would activate Urza's first ability by tapping a Worldwalker Helm and a map, adding 2 blue mana to your mana pool. Then activate another Worldwalker Helm by paying 1 and a blue, tapping it, creating a token copy of the Worldwalker Helm token and 2 map tokens. Then you would just activate Urza's first ability twice by tapping the maps. That gives you 2 more blue mana and you can repeat. You can do whatever you want with the extra mana that will be generated by all the map tokens. Again though, the trick is getting to your upkeep with Mechanized Production on Worldwalker Helm. Here's another combo that has some similarities. It consists of your commander, Mendicant Core Guidelight, Urza Lord High Artificer, and Worldwalker Helm. But you must have max speed to get this started. First, you're going to cast Worldwalker Helm and then pay 1 for Mendicant's trigger that will copy Worldwalker Helm. Then you would activate Urza's first ability by tapping a Worldwalker Helm and a map, adding 2 blue mana to your mana pool. Activate another Worldwalker Helm that will create a token copy of the helm and also an additional map token for each Worldwalker Helm you control. Then repeat. You can do whatever you want with the extra mana that will be generated by all the map tokens, but activating Urza's 5 cost ability seems pretty good. There are some other smaller combos, of course, buried in the build, but for now, let's move on to lands. Okay, first I have 4 artifact lands, since they add value along with some of the other cards in the deck. Darksteel Citadel, Ancient Den, Seat of the Synod, and Razortide Bridge. Urza's Saga is here, mostly for the Construct token, which does scale in power and toughness based on the amount of artifacts you control. Inventor's Fair can gain you life, and it does let you tutor for an artifact. Reliquary Tower is here, since you're going to be drawing a lot of cards. Academy Ruins and Buried Ruin are great ways to get artifacts out of your graveyard, while Amonkhet Raceway and Rogue's Passage will help you get damage across. The Raceway gives a creature haste if you're at max speed, which could be a good way to push across commander damage in some cases, and Rogue's Passage is always a good way to force big commander damage. Archway of Innovation and Maragonda Raceway are basically ramp cards in this deck. I did include a copy of Flooded Strand to fetch, and we have 5 2-color lands for fixing: Adakar Waste, Hallowed Fountain, Meticulous Archive, Sea of Clouds, and Temple of Enlightenment. Finally, to round out the deck, I have a copy of Command Tower, 5 Plains, and 5 Islands. So that's the build. It is rather simple. Play creatures, make tokens, go wide as fast as you can, buff your army, and fight. I do think it would be a good commander build for someone learning the format, but I also believe the deck can win. It's also the kind of build you play on a day where you don't want to think too hard. Overall, I do think this will be a fun deck to try out. Anyway, that does it for this deck tech. I do have a link to the full list in the description below. Let me know in the comments though which cards you would add to a Mendicant Core Guidelight build. I would definitely like to hear your insights, but until next time, hey, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please remember to like and subscribe, and have a great day. Hey, thanks for watching. This video is made possible through the generous support of viewers like you on Patreon. Check out the description below for links to our Patreon page as well as our Amazon affiliate store, where a small percentage of all sales will also help support the channel. Finally, if you haven't had a chance yet to subscribe, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the new videos on Heroes and Legends. Talk to you again soon, and have a great day.